Oh, there we go. That's weird. We're working.
Just the slightest movement on that cord fucks it all up.
Fucks it all up.
I think we still need to get whatever you did last time. It fell down, so we need to tape it or something.
I don't know.
So we can go this way and then run it that way.
Yeah, we need to figure something out, but for now, okay, it's working. Sorry, it's a technical difficulty day. It's one of those days. So.
Let me write down. Second here.
For everyone that's here, what's up? It's episode 38.
Tape the cord by new table cover. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
I'll forget if I don't write it down. So. Yeah. All right. We have arrived.
We have.
How's it going, guys? Appreciate your patience on that. Let us know. Please let us know if there's any technical difficulties, because as Danny said, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
or weeks, because I had the same problem on Saturday too. So, or Sunday, excuse me. But yeah, how's it going? Episode 38. I know did it change to 38 finally?
I didn't see, so it might say 37 on the live stream, but
yeah, let us know if it says on your. We're curious about this because we did everything proper and it still managed to say episode 37. I'm just curious if it's showing up as episode 37 or 38 on your guys' end. So give us some feedback on that part. We appreciate that. But yeah, good to be here. It's good to do this. This is one of those off days for me where, as I was telling you, I wish I had more time. And so, but yeah, let's do the plugs real quick, and then we'll kind of kick it off with how our day's going and stuff.
Yeah, check us out on Apple and Spotify. The live streams are on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. And then, yeah, check us out on Twitter and Instagram. You know, dude, my day's all weird too.
And the Discord.
Oh yeah, and we have Discord for our subscribers. Just hit us up with a message.
Nice. Sorry to cut you off. Where's that?
All my days kind of been the same. Not like, I don't know, same but different. I'm trying to like fix my sleeping schedule, but I couldn't fall asleep last night, so then I still had to wake up earlier anyway. You know, which just makes you feel like loopy.
Yeah.
I went to my acting class virtually, and then afterwards I fell asleep into a nap. And I don't know, you take like a nap sometimes and you wake up and you feel like you're like in a dream world kind of.
Yeah.
It's got that like kind of haziness going on right now. So
you just kind of brought something to my attention. Virtual acting class is almost it's kind of like, is that kind of good too because you're actually getting screen time? It could be considered good.
Maybe.
I know it's not good for like, you know, one-on-one interaction, but it could be utilized for good practice, I think.
Yeah, probably pretty good for like, I'm imagining it's pretty good for like writing or reading screenplays, you know what I mean? Like just reading the dialogue.
Yeah. Well, also just getting you acclimated to a crowd.
Yeah.
Like, what I mean, like, is if you're like a Zoom call of 20 people and they're like, put you on the spot, this is your script, it relatively is the same as being on TV almost.
Yeah, it's kind of different. It's less scary than being in person in front of those people. So when you have to do like silly things on camera, it's just like you're talking to a computer almost, you know what I mean? You can like you can like tune them out, you know what I mean? Whereas in person, they're standing there, you know?
Yeah, there's a presence there. Mm-hmm. It's like someone looking over you.
Yeah. So, it's got the pros and cons, obviously, so.
I just thought of that as you were saying that. Right on. So you're all daisy and all out of whack, huh?
Yeah, just not 100% there right now. I'm doing a little bit better since I ate and drank some water and stuff, but still like we're at like 85-90% right now. You know?
Yeah, fuck, you just gotta force yourself to bed, man. Staying up late, is that what it is?
I'm trying to. I'll just be sitting there laying there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard.
No, I mean, you just have to get used to it, man.
Yeah, I feel like if I do it enough, my body will probably just start going to sleep earlier. Hopefully.
You probably noticed I've been going to bed at like 9 or 10 because I've been trying to get up at 4:30. Today I couldn't. I got up at 5:30, but it's because I stayed up a little later.
Yeah.
You know, pushed it till 10. It's weird, man. The older you get, you kind of... I'm realizing my body... I mean, I always wondered why the people that got up at 4 in the morning went to bed at 9 or 8. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense. It's so much easier to get up earlier when you actually get some good rest.
Yeah.
And it feels good for me because, like I was telling you, the morning is the time where nobody requires your attention. You can get a lot done in like a 2-hour period from 4 to 6 before anybody's even awake. And then the day's rolling and everybody's calling you and texting you and email and fucking Zoom fucking you and all that.
Yeah.
It's been good for me, man.
It's a lot better for your mental health too, especially like this time of year. Because you don't want to be up when it's dark all the time.
Yeah, unless it's the morning. I'm okay with that. Like knowing that it's early in the morning because it's still dark at 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you want it to be like, in theory, you want to have equal amount of darkness in the morning and at night. When it's
dawn, right at dawn.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, so say, for instance, you stay up 2 hours after dark. You want to wake up 2 hours before dark, usually, I think. You want it to be kind of like equal, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Jim and Snakes? Jim's calling me an old man.
Jake is.
Jake is. Okay, got it. What was he saying? So what's up, Snakes? You played in the Grease musical in high school? Lots of pressure. Yeah, it's relatively similar to the acting.
I feel like even more pressure in a musical because you got to sing on top of acting and, you know.
Yeah.
Hey man, hit that fucking note.
That's funny. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell my grandkids, back in the day we only had 6-string guitars.
It's not even true.
I mean, we've seen those 18-string guitars already, so it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The freaking fretboard's like, 8 inches long.
Yeah. I still think I'm gonna get a 7-string just because I want the extended range. I don't want I do want the low range because I already tune my guitars lower usually, but I want to maintain the higher range like I was telling you.
Yeah.
For melody and stuff. Not just for the low end because I can just down tune a 6-string if I just want that.
Yeah, which is kind of what everybody does, huh?
Yeah.
So, all right, well, I'm gonna brush through my day real quick, and then we can get started here on these segments. I had an interesting day, man. So, as you know, I gave up coffee, like, nice. I gave up coffee like last year. It's probably even longer than that now. Well, it was over a year ago. It was back in April of 2019, so I guess we're past April.
Wow.
And so, a while back, I tried some espresso. You've probably seen it in the fridge, that little silk espresso. Mm-hmm. I kind of mixed it on ice with a little bit of almond milk. That was pretty good, but it wasn't very strong. And as far as caffeine being in my life, I do have a mild amount of caffeine in my smoothie. I'll use green matcha powder, and it's got a very mild amount of it. But today I drank one of those, that black and white coconut can you seen. It was actually a half espresso, half coconut milk. Or coconut water.
Right.
And that thing got me jacked, man.
Did it?
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, I don't know if I like being all fired up like that, man. Like,
I like a little bit of caffeine fire, but it's...
When I notice it, it's too much.
Yeah. It only takes like a little bit too much and then you're all like jittery and shit.
I don't know if I'm not jittery, but you just feel it. You know what I mean? You just feel it. So got that going for me. And then, what else was I going to say? What else is new? Just one of those weird days, man, where I, as you know, I have some of those days where I'm like, I get no break. It's just fucking one thing to the next. Today's one of those days where I was just literally problem solving all fucking day. Problems were coming up. I joke a lot. I just call it damage control, and I'm a firefighter. All I'm doing is putting out fires. And so that was one of those days today. It's just been real stressful, and I'm not even done. I have so much I got to do that I put aside for this. So made a sacrifice for it, man. Like I said, didn't want to miss. Oh, that being said, before we forget, me and Danny will not be doing Saturday's podcast. We're both going to be going to a wedding. Thanks a lot, Snakes. No. Nah, congratulations, man. I'm happy to join that wedding, dude. So I'll be going to Snake's wedding. Danny's actually going to a different wedding. Ironically, we didn't know we were both going to a wedding on the same day. So Danny's like, I'm going to go to a wedding on Saturday. I can't do the podcast. And I was like, I'm going to a wedding too. Wait, I don't think I can make it either. So it is what it is. It's going to be our first skipped podcast. It happens sometimes. So just a heads up on that, guys.
So episode 39 will be next Wednesday.
Yeah, and then we'll do a recap of the weddings. How about that? Yeah. We'll do a wedding review. And Snakes, you better have some like hot chicks showing up because I'm gonna be a wedding crasher, bro. Me and Vince Vaughn are coming to show up,
Vince
man.
Vaughn.
Actually, out of Vince Vaughn or Owen Wilson, who would you rather take with you? I think Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson
all day.
Yeah.
That guy just seems like he's hilarious to hang out with, dude.
I wouldn't mind hanging out with the other dude, but Owen Wilson would be so much fun, I think.
Oh, absolutely, dude. I can't make fun of his nose too much because I got a long nose too, so I guess I have to keep the nose jokes to myself. But
Owen Wilson or Ben Stiller?
Ben Stiller, by far.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Stiller fan, but that's not to say anything bad about
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, yeah. I've always been a huge Stiller fan, man.
Yeah.
You're making me think of Starsky and Hutch now, man. That was just a great movie with them comboing it up.
With them, and then also he's in Meet the Fockers, right?
Oh yeah, he made an appearance in there. That's right. I forgot about that. They're a good combo. They're like the Chris Farley and David Spade. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's good stuff. One other thing. Last time we were talking to Brandon, we were just talking about how I had a conversation with him about how I have a death conversation with my daughter, and then he mentioned that he has beads or something with skulls on it that kind of reminds him of the fact that life is short and all that. Ironically, I seen this cool little bracelet online that had little skulls, and so I bought them, and I think they're really cool. They got these little cool skulls on them and shit. Mm-hmm. And I like it for that reason now. I literally am reminded every time I see that skull now that like I need to be taking shit a little more seriously. Time's running out. That was a great idea, actually. I was like, holy shit. Not only does it look pretty cool, but it's just a constant reminder. It's actually got symbolic meaning now. Yeah. And I have it on me every day.
Yeah, just pro tip. If you're going to play guitar, take it off that wrist.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, because that'll just destroy your guitar.
Yeah, I take my jewelry off from this hand. I take it all off, actually.
Yeah.
Even my
I guess
pants.
that is true. Huh?
Even my pants, yeah.
Even his pants, yeah.
When I'm playing, yeah, it all comes off.
No obstructions.
So that was cool. I appreciate the insight, Brando, because like I said, that it's pretty cool. I kind of like the fact that I'm reminded about stuff like that, because we just get we get caught up with the world, and it's not a pleasant thing to think about, but it's a helpful thing to think about, not in a dark light, but just as a reminder to bring our connection with people that we love and value, and our time that we value a little more. So something new for me. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that being said, we got some things to talk about.
We're on topic 1.
We are on the contagious combo. And so today's contagious combo is going to be about stimulus checks.
Yeah.
We can talk about the round of stimulus checks that we have all received and the potential future stimulus checks, next round that might be going, might be getting handed out. We don't. I heard it was going to happen, but
yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, and I'll probably go into a little bit of a rant about them because they're a little annoying.
So yeah. First of all, what did you do with your first stimulus check? Do you remember?
What did I do? That's a good question. I feel like it came at a time when I was really broke. It's like I paid some bills and like. What did I buy? I thought I bought. Is that when I bought my skateboard? My first board. I can't remember. I don't even remember when I fucking cashed that thing. I don't know.
It's been when was that?
I think I cashed mine in like June.
This is definitely about 3 months ago.
Yeah. I can't even remember. Yeah.
I know I got mine like 2 or 3 months after they sent them out. I was one of the late ones to receive it.
Yeah, I was one of the late people to turn it in because I had mine for a while, but I already had money and I just didn't fucking care.
Yeah. Right on. I was just curious. Yeah, I don't remember what I spent mine on because it just went right in the bank, and I spend money all the time. So
yeah, it's kind of me too. It's like
it's hard to find out what that money went on when I'm like $6,000 or $7,000 a month in expenses.
I don't remember getting it and making like some big purchase. So I wasn't like, what can I spend $1,200 on?
It wasn't like, yeah, you had an allocated purchase for that when you got it.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, what do you think? What's your rant about specifically?
It's not really about stimulus checks. It's about fucking politics. I was kind of complaining about this last night because with the stimulus check, they already agreed that they're going to do this second stimulus check, but they can't decide on the amounts they're going to put into this bill because it's whatever. It's not only the stimulus checks. The bill includes other stupid other things, which I think is annoying that they do in politics anyways, is they attach certain things to other bills, you know what I mean? So they're like one benefit is affected by another thing when they don't really need to be. They should be separate things. There should be just one bill for stimulus checks and it's only for stimulus checks instead of being like, here's one for companies, here's one for people, and like they all have to be tied together, and so they have to agree on every single aspect of that bill for it to pass. They should just pass a bunch of smaller bills, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's stuff it's above me, man. I'm like not even knowledgeable enough for I don't know how that decision process goes.
Right.
So I'm not sure, but you're right. If it's multiple decisions being made on where funds are going to be going, you're right. If there's a more efficient way to group this stuff together to be allocated, that'd make more sense.
Yeah, and that's usually why some things will get like I don't know. There'll be some things that aren't good. They're like negative things that happen because they get tacked on to other bills. What
do you mean by that?
Okay, like say for instance, they're like, I don't know. It's just like they'll have a bill that has like a positive thing, right? They'll pass it in, but also have like a little negative extra thing added onto it because
it's always pros and cons.
It's not just one thing that's in the bill.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, pros and cons, right? You're just talking about leaving out the cons of.
I was saying don't attach it's basically like don't attach you know when you're having a conversation with someone, you're having an argument with someone and they bring up random topics that don't fucking matter.
Yeah,
it's the same thing here. It's like stop attaching the things together, just focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah, if it's irrelevant, absolutely I can definitely get on board with that. Well, let's see. So Jim was saying he's got his in late May, paid for Craig's funeral and paid other bills. So I guess it sounds like that came in at a good time. And unfortunately, when people pass away, that is something that I don't wish on anybody because it's unfortunate that that's part of the funeral process. So when someone passes away, now the family members are. It really probably takes a lot away from the grieving process, in my opinion. So I'm sorry for that, and I'm sorry for anybody who's had to deal with that. My parents had to deal with that, and at certain moments too. And there's going to be a time where I'm going to have to deal with that as well. So.
Yeah.
But he was saying they're not even negotiating in the Senate. They're trying to appoint a new judge instead. The stimulus stuff probably after the first of the year now.
They were negotiating. See, this thing could have already passed. So that's even more annoying, but it's almost irrelevant at this point because they could have already passed it, but they're sitting there negotiating. Yeah. They call it negotiating. No, they're being a bunch of fucking stubborn asses is what it is. And I was complaining a bit about this last night. It's like, this group, I don't even know what the fucking which groups are which anymore because it doesn't even matter. They just put arbitrary fucking names on them, whatever. But this group's like, we want 2 billion or whatever the fuck, 2 trillion, whatever the fuck the number is, you know what I mean? And other people are like, we want 4 trillion or 4 billion or whatever the fuck it is, you know what I mean? It's like just meet in the fucking middle. Like, are you guys adults or not? You guys can't fucking compromise and meet in the middle here? It's so fucking stupid.
Jim was saying it passed in Congress in May. And so that's just one hurdle, I guess. The first hurdle, I imagine.
There's Congress.
There's all these barriers. It's like track and field. You got one obstacle to the next till you get to the finish line.
It's very stupid.
Yeah. Fortunately, thankfully, I'm in a position where I don't need it. But for the people that actually need that shit, especially in a time right now where this pandemic is still just dragging on, and there's some people who are still without a job.
Yeah. Well,
that's insane.
They should have passed it anyways because that was going to be after the beginning of the year. Think about how many people that are struggling could actually use that money for like the holidays. You know what I mean? Because the holidays are a big thing.
Oh, God, I didn't think about that. That's sad, man.
Yeah. It's like,
and especially in this time, like, I think a lot of people are looking for those little nuggets of positivity, like
hope and happiness.
Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's like really all we have to look forward to right now, as far as bringing family together. And I can see that being a little depressing if people, that are struggling can't pay for like simple presents and things like that. And I know it's just part of a social norm type thing, but it's fun. I don't treat like Christmas and Thanksgiving as a part of a social norm anymore. To me, it's just like I enjoy it. And it's something my daughter really enjoys, even though we don't like, she knows Santa's not real. She knows all that's fake. Even though I've took that imaginary part out of it, we still enjoy it very much, and we still have fun with it. We use our imagination, and we still, have fun about Santa and everything else. So it's still a good thing to enjoy him. So that's going to be sad for a lot of people, man, if they just don't get that. And it just makes me, it pisses me off that we're still in this situation, man. Like, I have a bad feeling things are going to get worse and worse before they get better.
So.
I hate to think that.
I feel like they're like really stagnant right now. If you look at the numbers, they like just fluctuate slightly. They go down a little bit, up a little bit. They're just not really getting better or worse. It's just gonna.
You're going to have this is a high tension. As far as I know, this is one of the most high tension presidential race that I can remember. Yeah. I don't know if you can think of anyone that's been more controversial than this one.
I don't know. I'm not even really paying attention to the presidential race at this point.
I'm not either, but all the stuff I pick up on the radio that I kind of just drop in on, I mean, this is a huge thing, dude. So it could, I mean, the combination of that happening in November and then those two holidays happening just consecutively practically, there's just a lot going on and no funds for the people that are struggling. So it's sad. I hope things get better, really. And I don't know if they will, but I'm definitely hoping for the best. It sucks because usually I'd say I'm hopeful, but I'm really hoping because I don't know. I'm not hopeful for it, and that's sad. I can't be hopeful. There's no certainty right now. Yeah. Not even a slight bit of fucking certainty. That's what's sad. So I've already come to terms that, oh yeah, I guess Gordon Bush was, a lot of tenuous one, rather. And so, yeah, we'll just see, man. I've already come to terms with this year's shot. And then I just wonder now how far into next year this is going to continue. So it's getting scary, man.
Yeah, I just had to focus on like personal growth this year. Trying to. It's pretty hard though without the socializing. It's really hard to. Yeah, because it brings you down. So it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, we're social creatures, man. I mean, everybody is. There's not too many animals that aren't social creatures. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we are definitely social creatures, and so I would argue that that's beneficial for our mental health. Extremely, not even beneficial, imperative, I would argue, for our mental health.
For real, my mental health was great before the pandemic started, honestly. Like, I was doing fucking fantastic. So,
yeah.
And that's anecdotal, but I'm sure that's the case for a lot of people, so.
I think so, too. Absolutely. Not to, like, get down or go down, focus on negative, but the suicide rate has gone up. I can't remember what the percentage is, but it has gone up quite a bit. I should probably find out those facts because I remember I heard it at one time and I didn't write it down, but it makes sense. I mean, you're just getting a lot of people with mental health issues, and then you just combine it with financial stress. Maybe some of those people were already financially stressed prior to this, and then you just fucking drop a bomb on them. Some people can't handle that shit.
Financial stress and then the social stress.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Not to mention the family. I mean, it just compounds. It really isn't black and white on that topic either. There's so many things that the financial stress is causing right now. Even though some businesses have opened back up and they're operating at whatever capacity, and they can only have 10 people in or whatever type, all these limitations. It's not normal. It's not even close to being normal. It's still as if everything was shut down still. It seems like. I drive around looking. There's been multiple times where I'm like looking at businesses to see if they're open, whether it's a restaurant or this place or that place. I'm like, they're closed, and a lot of it like temporary closed until further notice. It's like, Jesus, it's like there's a lot of places like that right now.
There's a lot of places that are going out of business too. It's sad.
It is sad. Let's see what Jim was saying. Flu season's going to be scary. We haven't even thought about that. That's a good point. And it's the flu season's gonna be misinterpreted as COVID-19 also. Here's a good example. I heard on the radio today, a 9-year-old boy in Boston, was in his class. He sneezed in class. The teacher freaked out and sent him to the office, and he had to go home after that. He checked out perfectly fine. And then after that, they required him to get a COVID-19 test before he was to return. I guess the parent was fucking irate that he got sent home just because he sneezed. And to your point, we are in flu season, so there's going to be a lot of sneezing going on. I don't know how the appropriate way to handle a sneeze is, but sending people home might not be it. I don't know. I think it's silly because this is coming from someone who hasn't made a decision. We already went through this. I think it's fucking silly.
Is Leia in school now, or is she doing...
She's in daycare where they converted the school into daycare.
Oh, okay.
So she's got Zoom meetings with her school and her class at the daycare, and then they used to have, I don't know if they're still doing it, that a couple in-house teachers that were helping, kind of getting them acclimated, but I think that was temporary. I don't know if they're still there or not. But yeah, it's weird, man. And so I get this little slip sent back with her on the day. It says what she did and the assignments she completed, and any side notes that needed to be spoken about, and I sign it. And so,
it's really funny that they're having them do it at daycare instead of just going to the regular school. It's not like they're not around each other anyway.
Yeah. What's even more funny is I got the letter that they're going to do picture day. So that's normal. It just, a lot of fucking things don't make sense. So they have all these restrictions, and then they have a fucking football game where they fill a stadium, and I don't care how far you spread people out, they're still packing the stadium. Not packing, but they're having a huge amount of people, whether it just be the two teams or not, and a few selective coaches or whatever. The sports ain't gonna stop. It brings in too much money, right? It's all about money. It's all fucking money, dude. They're prioritizing things by the money.
Right.
That's fucking so frustrating to me.
Football, yeah, the contact sports is a really bad idea, right?
If they're gonna... It's kind of like what I told you. If you do believe it, then you should be going all the way.
Right.
There's no middle ground.
Football and...
Either you believe in it or you don't, and you act accordingly. Like saying, oh, it's completely real, I believe it, but you never wear a mask, or you never do this, or you never do that, is inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. So I would argue that person's just doesn't know what the truth is either, or they just don't care. It's one of those two options. But it's frustrating. But Jim's saying they say another 150K could die from COVID by the new year.
They've been saying random numbers the entire COVID time, so I don't even care about the numbers that they predict. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, there's
been way too many predictions, and they've all been wrong. And
exactly. I was just going to say there's been a lot of inaccuracies too. Jim was saying we can all beat it if we wear masks and social distance. I do not think we need to shut all down again. March for the shot on COVID if everything goes well in the last stage of testing. Sports are only a little, no fans there yet, not making a lot of fans. Yeah, I understand the fans thing, but I was just for the two teams in general. That's still too many people. I mean, if they're going to limit...
football teams are pretty big. They have a lot of people on them.
Yeah, and so it's still past the number of allowed people, you know what I mean, in a group setting. So that kind of is the same thing I'm talking about too. Either you're going to make some rules and follow them or not. Like, you can't set rules and then deviate from them here and there. Like, oh, we'll let this go, you know what I mean? They're all safe. They're all... whatever. They're taking precautions, and inconsistencies bother me. Let's just put it that way. I wish people would be a little more consistent. And regarding the shot, the only way I would ever get a shot is if I am convinced that COVID is 100% real. And I mean, to be honest, I'm not even interested in looking into that and making that decision right now. So. And you can call me naive, you can call me stupid or whatever you want, but it's just where I'm at. They have strict guidelines, kind of like a bubble. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you can't have a bubble in football. You're going to have to tackle people. You have to literally get right on top of it.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
It is a contact sport. And they weren't wearing masks. Pete Carroll, I think, and someone else got fined like $100,000 because they weren't wearing masks at that last game.
Yeah, so, are the players wearing masks?
I don't know. Could you imagine playing football on a fucking mask and a helmet?
That's what I'm saying. You can't, really.
That would be insane. Oh, here he said it right here. Jim was saying they fined 5 teams over 100K each for violations this past weekend. That's exactly what I was referring to, yeah. And so now they're making money off of it. Hey, that's good for the government, right? Let's set all these rules, allow them to do that because we know they're going to break it. And that's all just money in the bank right there. Yeah, it's all fucked up, dude. I wish there was some consistency is all I'm asking. Either you shut everything down and we all get through this, or you stick with the guidelines that you put in place for everybody. These guidelines need to apply for everybody, unless very special circumstances will allow that. I don't know what, but there could be a circumstance I'm not thinking of that might allow or that might be beneficial to have more than the allowed people around. So they have testing to make sure they are COVID free. Yeah, they do testing every day, but I also heard that you can have COVID and be in the early stages and it won't come up on the test. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's what I heard. But if it's true, then that, there's a possibility that everybody has it, really, using that theory. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Ansley keeps changing guidelines. That does not help. You're right. They need to become mandatory. Exactly. I'm just talking about solidifying something and being consistent. And so when they're not, it's just super frustrating. But going back to the stimulus checks, what is that something you personally, is that something you're relying on quite a bit? How does that affect you? This round of stimulus checks, how does that play into your life right now? Of course, it could change in a couple months, right?
Not like super hardcore, but I could use the money. Yeah.
Yeah. See, and
for someone that's not in my situation, it's definitely more important, right?
Exactly.
There's someone that's worse off than me. Yeah.
I can think of people right now that are, like single parents that are struggling and they need that money, and that's something I can really, I really have compassion for because, or empathy, or whichever word is more applicable to that, because I'm also a single parent and it's hard. I can imagine what kind of stress that adds to that, the financial stress. It's added to that, it's too much. It's already enough stress being a single parent, and then you got the burden of money and bills weighing down on you, but you're limited to, especially if your job's been affected now. Like, I mean, I can only imagine, dude, and that's why I think it's going to get worse the longer that there's a lot of things going on here, but the stimulus checks we're talking about being delayed is one of those things that are going to compound those issues more. There's people that are in dire need for it. Jim's like, it's always nice to have money. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, regarding the stimulus checks, what else can we touch base on that with? I mean,
I don't think there's very much more.
There's not much more. Yeah, I mean, we need it. They need to come to a decision.
Yeah, grow the fuck up. Make a decision. Stop.
I mean, of course, I don't really need it, but I could use it. You know what I mean? I owe this year I got taxed $12,000 yet again, just like last year, so that could put a small dent in that,
Even if we don't need it, other people need it, so they should still fucking pass it, so.
Absolutely. I'm not even thinking about myself when it comes to the stimulus checks. I'm literally thinking about other people right now. And, we're talking about friends and family. I'm thinking about those people, so. I hope to God they, as they like to say, the old man saying shit or get off the pot. Let's keep the old man saying rolling. Alright, well, if there's nothing else to talk about with these old stimulus checks, let's see what Jim had to say on this. He says he's been lucky getting his Social Security check, union pension, part-time employees with the state. Right on. Cool, man. Yeah, like I said, people like you are doing okay, fortunately, but sounds like we're thinking about everybody else a little bit more too. So, but let's just hope for the best, man. That's all we can do, really. There's nothing we can do. It's in their hands, right?
Yeah.
That brings us to our next segment. And that's our review segment. And on this review segment, we're going to talk about a song that we reviewed. and well, an artist also, but one song in particular, and then if we can think of, to be honest, I don't know any others. I have heard some other songs, but not enough to know it off the top of my head. But yeah, so we're gonna review. The guy calls himself Juice WRLD. That can't be right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Juice WRLD. I don't know. I would really be interested in knowing how he got that name, or if there's any substance or significance or to that. It makes me wonder.
Yeah. All right. Well, the song is "Lucid Dreams." So I'm just trying to say it quickly because we have the screen open.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
is that the name of the song? Okay. Good thing, because I was going to call it something else. It's called "Lucid Dreams." If you haven't heard this song, Juicebox, nice. That would actually sound better, in my opinion. Juice WRLD just makes me wonder, like, why? What is it? Of course, there might be some relevance to that, so just keeps you wondering. I like those stories, you know what I mean? They're like, I don't know. Like, yeah, we got the name because one time we were doing this and Johnny did, you know what I mean? Like, those kind of stories are kind of cool.
Right.
But if I was to ask him, you know, where'd you get the name from? He's just like, I just thought it was cool. Like, that's lame, dude. So subjective. So, all right, I'm going to let you give me your first. Okay, so first of all, the song has this. Okay, so Juice WRLD took a beat. There's a bunch of things I can talk about.
As a sample.
He took, this has always been one of my fucking pet peeves. When rappers take a beat from an old rock song, or, you know, it's usually a rock song. I swear to God, it's always a rock song, it seems like. They'll take the beat, they'll take the hook, and just, you know, put it in their hook for the rap. And I don't know, it's just, sometimes it might sound good, most times it doesn't. More importantly, it just bothers me because they didn't put in the effort to make their own beat when it's very simple to make rap beats.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, because like a lot of people nowadays have MacBooks. Everyone uses Macs and shit for I forgot this in here. They use Mac for music production, right? They use Apple products for music production.
Yeah.
Apple products come with GarageBand for free, which is like basically a recording.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you can just basically make beats.
Dude, so I can get that on there?
Yeah, you can have it on your iPad.
Nice.
That's actually what I'm going to try to use for your project that you're having me do, instead of the one that I was using before.
Oh, for the PA project?
Yeah, because with GarageBand, so GarageBand is like their free product, and they have Logic, which is like their like professional grade one, but they kind of work similarly. So it's kind of like you start there,
the upgraded version.
Yeah, you start there, and then when you're like, oh, I need more features, then you move up. But
you gotta pay for it though, right? The upgrade probably.
Yeah, but it's a flat price. It's not like a subscription.
God, I hate that, dude. I love flat prices. Just $200, it's yours. I fucking hate the $20 a month. $300 a year, and you got to That's how businesses get you, dude. Like, they're like, this is genius. Just subscribe. That's just cash flow. Yeah. The people that prosper the most have consistent cash flow, and they'll do it when it's irrelevant too. Yeah. And so
that's just $200 flat.
Nice. Well, that's pretty. It's pretty good, man. I would say, especially in the world I was just talking about, where everything's a fucking subscription.
Yeah, it's pretty big in the industry too. Like the two big ones. I think the two biggest ones are Logic, but then the one that's bigger than that is Pro Tools.
Nice.
So
nice.
But anyway, that's a side tangent. Back to Juice WRLD.
Side tangent. Well, real quick, Mark was saying he's not here anymore. Yeah, I found that out. Danny dropped that ball on me. I didn't know that. So, cash flow is king. I'm interested to know where you heard that from, Jim, because I've heard that many a time. Did you hear that from Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone? Like, there's a lot of successful millionaires that use that term. But you're right. Cash flow is king.
He's like, I just came up with that. What are you talking about?
Sorry to burst your bubble.
Did you hate when you come up with like an original thing and someone already came up with it before? You're like, fuck.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm aware that Juice WRLD is dead, and so no disrespect to a dead man or anything, but that particular song, my opinion of that song, I guess I'll just get right into it. I was kind of hard on that song, as far as like, I thought it was terrible when I first heard it. But after thinking about it, it's not as terrible as I made it sound, but it is still bad. It's still bad. And the reason for that is because, first of all, it's music is subjective, so this is completely just my opinion. Everybody else is going to have a much different opinion about this. But it doesn't flow very well. The lyrics do not flow with the music and the beat very well. And I'm not saying that it's off tempo or that it's out of sync. You know what I mean by that? It just doesn't flow well.
You don't like
for my ears.
Rhythm of his voice.
I don't like the rhythm of his lyrics. Yeah, and he doesn't have a bad voice or anything. He's got a very catchy voice because I know who it is immediately when I hear his songs on the radio.
Honestly, I mistook that song for Post Malone at first. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. But it's because they both kind of have similar voices. They both use some auto-tune, so it's kind of hard to like...
Yeah.
You can get them mixed up if you're not, fluent in that, who all the players are in that genre, I guess. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So what also really bothers me about that song is the dude is really whiny about a chick. And I can't do that anymore. That's a phase that was in my life where I listened to, I'll admit it, I listened to shitty bands like 3 Days Grace and fucking, God, I can't even think of them. There's a ton of them right now.
I'm just going to name drop one and see if you're Stained.
Stained, absolutely. Although Stained...
I knew you were going to say, so you're like, wait.
They got worse. So if you go back to hear Mud Shovel, they actually did like lows and good mixes of that. It was like the what do you call that? Early Stained Mud Shovel album was like the Faceless of regular rock. They were able to integrate the cleans into the lows very well, and so that's why it was more appealing when I first heard it. And then Break the Cycle came out and it just got more depressing and whiny, and then it got even worse. And then he went country and it got even worse.
Dude, yeah, he lost me at country, and I was like, all right.
And he's got a great voice.
I was like, I could only listen to him when I was depressed, and then after I was like, I can't listen to you at all now that you're country.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's more of a phase in life, and so I get really concerned that those songs that get so much hype is kind of like a good reflection on where our society's at.
Where culture is at?
Yes. And what we value or what's appealing to us.
Well, I think the reason that those songs are appealing, because that's not like a new thing. We had like the emo thing 10 years, 15 years ago.
It's been a consistent thing,
It's
right?
a consistent, and I think it's just because...
Why is that? Is that something we could all relate to more than...
No, it appeals to young people, and young people is where the money's at, right?
Yeah.
Because they're like the most passionate consumers, right?
Yeah.
You think about when you're a kid, you're like fucking in love with the musicians that you love, right? Then as you get older, you're like, oh yeah, that's all right. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good song. You get older, you just kind of get like, you don't get so like emotionally wrapped up in the music, right?
Yeah. Well, and especially if you're trying to be more positive. Like, it's just not appealing to me. And don't get me wrong, I like some sad music, and I like some, some of that gloomy, stuff. It's just the topic of the sadness, more specifically. And when we're talking about a guy whining over a chick that left him, that's way in my past. That's a phase I went through in my mid-20s. So I'm way past that right now, and so it's like, that's so immature to me.
You know what's fun?
I feel sad for those lyrics.
You know what's funny is so on the other hand, I like some I like the chorus, I like the melody, but the thing is I'm not paying attention to the lyrics.
Well, you're in your mid-20s.
Yeah, I don't feel that way either about chicks either anymore, but
yeah,
or at least I tried to.
It wasn't that long ago though that you were, and you voiced it, you were highly impacted by a breakup. I don't know if it was a breakup.
Right. And
you told me about this, and you definitely seemed like you were very impacted, like I was impacted by that relationship that I had a similar experience with in my mid-20s.
Yeah, but I was more cognizant of it than like when I was younger, when I would just like get so like, I was more like, it's fucking annoying that I just can't get over that shit. I was like, because of the logical part of my brain is just saying exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And just like
it gets even easier though, is what I'm saying. It's literally a maturity thing, I think.
Yeah.
Because the last breakup I had, it was literally like fucking rolling off me like Teflon, dude. I was like pressing on for it. Still never really, it never got me sad. Like, and of course I really wasn't, there were some things I didn't like about that individual as well, but there were some things I liked about her too, but it's just weird as you get older, man. And so if you look at my experiences when I was I 25 or 26? 25, yeah. Well, it was 25 when I had one specific breakdown. I was devastated, dude. I couldn't understand like what happened, and I was like, I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that like it affected my life quite a bit. And so fast forward some years later and going through a couple relationships, I was like, wow, that's sad I was even like that ever. Like, you just realize that's just part of life, you know what I mean? It's silly to think that you're gonna probably find the one person you're gonna spend the rest of your life with on the first fucking try.
Yeah.
Or third try, or fourth try, or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I'm going to point out what Mark said here because I want to disagree with what Mark said. I want to politely disagree. He said, no, we get used to disappointment. And I don't really think that's what it is. I think it's more of a codependency thing. So when you're younger, you think like, oh my God, I can't live without this person. And when you're older, they're more of like, you think more of them as a partner. You're like two individuals, right? So like, if you lose that person, you don't really think that you lost a part of yourself. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
no.
Your identity when you're younger is being in a relationship. That person, you're tied to that person. Whereas when you're mature, you're two individuals that appreciate each other, so you're spending your life together. But if you lose that person, you still have your individuality. You're still your person.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not as devastating because it doesn't make you lose part of your identity by losing that person.
Absolutely. And codependency to me is the level of codependency is a maturity relation to me personally, I think. And so there's some people that never grow out of being codependent. They're always going to be battling that for the most part. I actually agree with Mark. It's more of being, it's like getting the sticker shock out of the way. It's like, okay, I've been impacted this hard. It can't get any worse. And you kind of expect it now. And if it does happen, it's not a big deal. But that's just the way I look at it, you know what I mean? And I have had my codependency moments, but I'm astronomically different now. Completely 180'd on that.
Yeah.
And even when I was together with somebody, you know, while I was somewhat codependent, I really was caught up. It wasn't like the type of codependency you think where we do everything together. It was because I work full time. There's no way I can spend even when I have my normal job, I'm working all the time, sometimes Saturdays. So I only valued the time that I did have with them after work and on the weekends or whatever. Where I can see if people spend day in, day out, all day, every day together, that's going to be more intensified. Especially if there's a devastating separation.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And you lose your individuality the more you spend time with people, I think, like that. I think this is my thoughts. I think you really need some, as they call it, refractory period, some you time, you need some time to think, really. In a fucking quiet room even, and think about some shit.
It's like even in my relationship, so like my current relationship, me and my girlfriend do like we have the same hobbies, so it works pretty well, you know what I mean? Like we both play music, we both skateboard together, she likes playing video games, so it's not that hard, you know what I mean? Like I can be like, do whatever I want to do, and she's like, yeah, I'll do that too. But I still, at least like one day a week, sometimes 2 days a week, I'm like, I just need some space to myself. I need to be alone, even still need to be an individual.
Man, to me, I really wouldn't want personally as someone that like is into everything I'm into. Not even a lot of things I'm into. That'd be like you and me doing a podcast when me and you agree on everything. You know how boring that fucking be? Yeah. There's no thoughts. There's not a lot of, it doesn't create good conversation. Doesn't get the mind working. There's nothing profound ever happening. It's like, yeah, I agree. You know what I mean? And
yeah, but we have different opinions. It's just we like doing similar things, you know.
But I think because me and you are a lot different, not only with our personality, but where we're at in our life, and so that makes for a good conversation.
Right.
Literally. And you could probably ask all the viewers, what do you think? If me and Danny agreed on everything, would it be boring? Or do you think it would still be as entertaining? That's my thought on that. So Jim was saying, good point, Ben, is maturity. Absolutely. Codependency is relevant to maturity. Yep, Danny, you need to keep your own identity. Yeah. So I think we all in agreement on that. I think it is important to have some you time, man. I need a lot of me time. And the next girlfriend I don't want her to be into everything I'm into. First of all, it can't unless, for one, when we're talking about business, I'm just so deep into the business aspect.
It's gonna be
hard to find anybody that's like that.
You're not. And
I'm glad.
Yeah, it's like it'd be like, how are you gonna find like a businesswoman that's into death metal? It's like, what are the odds?
That'd be cool, but even if I have those two things in common with her and then nothing else, that would be a healthy relationship, probably. Yeah. But yeah, I've come to terms with, I'm not looking for commonality. It's, I want someone who's got differences and has her own shit that she likes, and we can, she needs some her time, I need some me time sometimes, that type of setup. What do you say? We need to agree to disagree. It would be like sheep if we did all agree. Yeah. And sheep are white, which is like the most boring color. So a lot of sheep is just a lot of boringness. Like I slipped in the metaphor there. But yeah, it's an interesting topic. We got stray.
We're so far off from Juice WRLD.
That's okay, because honestly, I don't see it. There's not much substance to it anyway. But my whole go ahead.
We're kind of talking about the meaning behind the song, where we can still talk about the musicality of the song, right?
Yeah. It's relative to what we're talking about, absolutely. Yeah. But we definitely. We went down the wrong...
We went on a tangent, but then we kept going down that tangent for a long time.
That's okay. There's value in that.
There is, yeah.
It's not a bad thing. But bringing it back to Juice WRLD...
I get what you're saying, though, about his flow, because I feel like in the chorus, he has a pretty good melody with a pretty good flow. And then in some parts where we were listening to it, was last night or the night before, we were listening to it, and it's like, the flow's good here, like on one line, and then you go to the next phrase and the flow's bad, and then it goes back to a good flow in the next phrase, and you're like, huh.
It rubs my ears the wrong way when I hear it. I'm like, that doesn't flow.
It's not consistently flowy. Yeah. It has some flow in there, and then it's like kind of awkward in some places, so I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so that bothers me, and part of the reason, my suspicion is because you're using someone else's beat also, you know what I mean? Although it's just a hook he put in a beat, he probably would have had more success if he made his own beat and probably could have made it flow better. I bet. Yeah. You're trying to force something at that point.
Yeah, I do like the mood of the whole song, but I'll agree with you. I don't like the lyrical content, but I wasn't even...
let's just go through the lyrics right now.
I like the emotional mood set by the sounds, not the lyrics. You know what I mean? Just like that kind of minor.
I've heard enough to I know the hook quite a bit. Let's just go through these lyrics really quick. So you're saying personally it's good. Oh, personality is good. Okay, you're right, man. So yeah, in case you haven't heard the song, here, let me drop some lyrics on you. The hook goes like, I still see your shadows in my room. You can look it up? Nice.
Yeah.
Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love or I hate you.
Love and I hate you.
I love and hate you. And I cannot change you, so I must replace you. Easier said than done. I thought you were the one, listening to my heart instead of my head. You found another one, but I am the better one. I won't let you forget me. I will see your shadows in my room. And that whole hook is just fucking depressing. And it doesn't surprise me that guy is dead. I mean, if that's the way he operated his life and he was that devastated, I can imagine he was definitely mentally fucked up. And no disrespect to him, but I mean, that's just what I hear immediately when I hear those lyrics. I feel sorry for the guy. Even if he wasn't dead, I feel sorry for when I hear the song, I feel sorry that he wrote that song. It's like, damn, that dude's in a bad spot right now. He must have been in his mid-20s.
I think he was he?
When he wrote the song, is what I'm saying.
Oh, it's only a couple years
That's
old.
A mid-20s thing, man. That mentality is a mid-20s thing, dude. And if you're doing that in your 30s, you have not matured, man. If you're letting a relationship devastate you like that, you have just not.
Well, he was 21 when he died. So
Oh my God.
So he was like 20 when he wrote that song.
Holy crap. So yeah, he was okay, so that makes more sense. He was definitely immature. So I can see that makes more sense. So I guess I shouldn't give him such a hard time. He's just a young buck.
Yeah, we were all there, so.
Exactly, we've all been there, but I feel really sorry for the guy. Not because he's dead. I feel sorry because of that too, but I feel sorry that he was in that mental state at 21. And so it sucks, but yeah, we've been there. It's like I said, it's just a maturity thing. You grow over, you get through it, you grow up, and you're like, wow. And then that's why I kind of agree with Mark, because I think it is for me, it applies for real. That the fact that I just get used to disappointment, and it's not like a negative thing.
I guess that is actually true. Now, kind of coming back to that, I guess I can see what you guys are saying, because like the whole thing right here is he's disappointed, right?
Yeah.
He's like devastated because he was let down by someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys are saying you get used to that disappointment.
Yeah.
So it doesn't devastate you as much.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's kind of like the mentality. When I approach a lot of things that I'm uncertain about, I hope for the best but expect the worst. And it might seem weird to some people, but when I approach things like that, when I approach it that way, I am never that devastated to that point. Never, ever, ever, because I'm already going into it. It's like going gambling, expecting to lose that money. If you go in thinking you're going to win money, you're going to be disappointed. First of all, if you set yourself up for disappointment, I'm just very aware not to set myself up for disappointment as much as I can, which is something that you have to learn how to do. And that's why I think it's a maturity thing, because you don't learn that until you get older. Let's see. Jim was saying, when you do not get hung up on a part of life that we have no control of, I think we all need family or friends to give leverage to our well-being to help get through these types of things, at least a friend or something. Yeah, I mean, definitely it sounds like that. I mean, I'm sure he had friends. So that song, and the reason why I said I'm concerned about our society and why I am concerned is because that song had fucking almost 550 million views, which is quite a bit. That is a lot of views for one song. So 550 million.
He probably has even more now because he died.
Probably. And so that means that many people, or some of those were rewatched multiple times, but still, that's a lot of people that really are either attracted to that mentality, or there's something about it that is attracting. That's what concerns me about the state of our mental state of it. And what's ironic is I bet you if they did some statistics on the songs like that, and even that song in particular, as to how many views it got pre-COVID-19, I bet you there's more now, just because it's a depressing state and people are probably relating to that shit even more, maybe. I'd be interested to know. That's a complete guess. I would argue that that's probably true, though.
I think it says, what's really frightening for me is like the image that like hip hop artists are doing nowadays. They all have this kind of like sadness to them, and they're all kind of glorifying taking like drugs, like doing pills and shit.
Yeah.
All of them are doing that nowadays. Like it's like the in thing to do, and it's really dangerous to be.
Have we not learned our lesson?
Yeah.
There's been, Mac Miller, fucking Juice WRLD. There's tons of them, dude.
So many hip hop artists overdosing and dying over the last 10 years.
That's a growing theme right there.
Yeah.
Have we not learned?
And so many like because now I'm getting to the age where, like, if I'm like go to a job or something, you know, a lot of people that are 10 years younger than me, they'll be 18, 19 and stuff. That's where it got a lot of them do pills. And I feel like they listen to like this type of music and they do pills and stuff, and it's because
they're influenced.
They're influenced, and it's glorified in this music, and it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Like when I was a kid, I was glorified by like metal, so I guess I drank and smoked and stuff, but I wasn't. I mean, drinking.
You were more influenced by the actual musicianship, though, I would argue, right? You weren't necessarily paying attention to the lyrics as much as the music, were you?
Yeah, well, it depends. Different. I probably was when I was like 14, 15, but not so much when I was like 18. You know?
Yeah.
When I was 18, I was just, because I wasn't even paying attention to lyrics when I was 18. I was literally just like, show me the guitar riffs.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Your focus diverts to what you're interested in, and the lyrics wasn't it. But I forgot what I was going to say. I lost it. There was something I was going to make a point on, though.
But yeah, I guess, you know, some rock musicians have glorified drug use, but not as much as they do in hip hop, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm waiting for the rap artists to like start rapping about self-improvement and like fucking making good choices and shit like that. Like, when are we gonna start getting some actual beneficial positive influences like that? And I like you know, unique, because that makes it unique. Anybody who's doing something different than taking pills and banging hoes and whatever they're calling it and driving fast cars and whatever is appealing to everybody, that glam life, right? That's unique. Like I can think of one guy who's he's a rapper, and all he talks about is plant-based shit, right? That's unique. Nobody's talking about it. So he raps about seeds and gardens and all that shit, and it actually flows. It sounds good. And he's got a message.
Yeah, Mark said NF.
What's that?
It's an artist.
Oh, I have heard of them. They got some okay songs, but they're
Nathan John Feuerstein. I don't even know how you pronounce his last name. Feuerstein. Yeah. But
I can't remember what type of music he does.
We can check it out. But
yeah, we'll check it out. But I think it's definitely down the depressing side as well. Yeah. It always comes up when I'm playing Taylor Swift on Pandora for Melina. I don't know why NF always comes up on that channel, but NF is a song that always comes up when we're listening to Taylor Swift.
Yeah. So my grandpa was saying my cousin Patrick was into grunge and drugs, and yeah, that's true. And definitely there was a drug problem during the grunge era, but there wasn't a lot of songs that were talking about drugs. You know, They weren't just like, I can think of like one song in the grunge era that was talking about drugs, and that's Junkhead by Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
That's the only one that
about like Kurt Cobain. I don't think any one of his songs was glorifying drugs.
I don't think he talked about heroin in any of his songs. So, but like in hip hop nowadays, they'll literally they all, you know, taking Xanny. You know,
oh yeah,
all the time. You hear that shit in the lyrics all the time. They'll be talking about popping pills in the fucking lyrics.
Molly and fucking.
It's one thing if they're doing it discreetly in their personal lives, but to market that towards impressionable young people is awful.
So that being said, do you think they have a responsibility? I mean, do you think they should be held accountable? Where do you think that fits into place in your opinion about the artists that are glorifying these damaging things that are highly influential for kids?
I think it says more about society than just as individuals. I think we should have the freedom of speech where they can sing about those things that they want, but it says something about society that they're the most famous artists. And not only but it also says something about the industry, because the industry is pushing those artists, right?
So let's get to the roots of this. It says something about our society. What in specific would you say it says about our society? Would you say? If you got to think about that, I have a suspicion.
Well, it says something about like the each generation is getting more depressed. So I think it's saying something about that, really.
Yeah. I think it comes... A lot of this can go back to parenting. So if we're talking about our youth, they're really influenced by parents first, right? And so if they're even in that state of mind, it's derived from something else. Because if you have a good family and good parents, you understand that shit is just, you know what I mean? You can listen to that stuff and understand that it's just music and it's not something you would want to ever do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're hearing it with no influence, no guidance, no direction, you're looking for it. Mm-hmm. You're seeking, you're craving some kind of fucking guidance and influence. And so when you hear that and then you see everybody also being influenced by it, then it becomes a herd mentality type thing. It's like, oh, this must be the thing everybody's into.
Yeah.
And so I would argue it goes back to the parenting, dude. Parenting, yeah, only goes so far. You're right, Jim. But it actually goes further than I would. I mean, when you say so far, I don't know if you're meaning like a little bit or if it doesn't have much influence, but I would argue that parenting has a fucking huge impact on how kids are gonna view the world, how you're brought up. Not even specifically parenting, just how you're brought up. Your family that brings you up and the influences and guidances you have around you.
Even your peers. I mean, if you have a bunch of shitty friends, you're way more likely to end up being a shitty person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which that one's a little bit harder to realize is happening before you're in that, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
But
so he was saying when you're at a certain age, maybe 9 or 10, you know right from wrong, was huge influence or has huge influence. Right. And so even pre 9 or 10 though, kids are very influential. And I've literally examined and analyzed Malia as she's been growing up, and very impressionable, probably age 6, maybe even I would argue a little bit before then. From 6 on up, I think there's a good foundation there and some good values and some guidance is there and some direction, and just being able to be there for your child when they need you, that's probably the most important thing. Just the child knowing that if they are confused about something, they can always turn to you and ask something. Or even not even if they feel like they can't ask you and they're just observing your actions and watching how you handle your life, how you treat people, all that stuff has a huge impact on children, I think.
Yeah, I think there's like the psychology of drug use is like you're trying to find some area of comfort, right?
Yeah.
That you're lacking in. But if you have that comfort already, like you have someone to go to, you have your parents or whatever.
Absolutely.
You're much less likely to need that.
Absolutely.
So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is my speculation. I'm not a fucking professional at all, but I like to think I'm somewhat smart about some things, and so I think it does go back to the parenting, man. It really does.
I know he's saying that at the age, at 9 and 10, but nobody holds a 9 or 10 accountable like an adult. Like, yes, they're 9 or 10, they're still very influential, even if they know right from wrong. They can still be influenced to do wrong things.
But if that foundation's established before then, you're much less likely to act on those influences that just come immediately at you, like songs are talking about drugs and sex. And
I mean, because even an 18-year-old adult is not fucking mature.
I like how Juice WRLD is spinning off into some meaningful topics, though, because this has all got value to it, man. And going back to what you were talking about drugs being related to some previous childhood stuff and parenting lack of, or whatever you're kind of insinuating on that, I absolutely agree with that. It's not even drugs, unhealthy mental health, I guess you would say, mental disorders and all that. All of that is because of something that happened to people. We're all fucked up in our own way, right? We are all fucked up in our own way. It always is because of something in the past, though. And so if you really think about it, you can go back in time and get to the root of what kind of spawned this influence, really. And to be honest, that's how you fix those things. People in their 20s or 30s that actually are effective at that, that's what they do. They'll break down their life. They might have to go back to their mom or their dad or whatever and confront them. They got started ground zero. before they can actually move forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of how it starts at the family. It starts in the parenting. You know what I mean? If you got to go back to ground zero to just to wipe the slate clean for yourself and just to tell whoever how you feel or whatever that is a clear indication how important parenting is and your family is.
There's like a good example is like bullies. Like a lot of them are abused by their family, right?
Yeah.
And so even if they know that that's not the right thing to do, that's kind of what they've been taught. So that's just all they know, and that's how they know how to deal with their emotions and shit.
Absolutely.
That's all they've been taught. Even if they know it's not the right thing to do, they don't know how to do it any other way. So
yeah, and that's just how it goes, man. That's why it's so true. Victims make more victims. You guys have heard me say, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Victims make more victims. This is a fact. And victims make a lot more victims too. They don't discriminate. They're relentless at this. And so that's another good reason why. And so the reason why we have a lot of these people is now it goes back to the amount of unintelligent parents and parents that don't have the right to even really have it, should not have the right to have a child.
Right.
Now you got those type of people that are having 5, 6 kids, and we've multiplied a bunch of not only unintelligent, but now there's all these kids that have nowhere to turn to actual good foundation of parenting. Mm-hmm. And that number is way larger than the actual good parents that are actually doing some good parenting and have a good foundation. You know what I mean? That's why you see 560 million views on the song like that. I would argue a lot of those kids come from fucked up families and probably have, parents. I'm not saying all of them. These are just my.
I think that's a huge number of people.
This is my suspicion. You know what I mean? So I just think a lot of that portion of 560 million views is some people that are fucked up from fucked up parenting because their parents never were taught anything the right way, how to parent, how to deal with their emotions, how to talk about values, and just build that foundation, family foundation. So that's what concerns me. We just got this society of unintelligent people, and then people, and then a mass proportion of those people. So. Let me read what you said. I can remember that I always parented in a way to let them know you are what you do, be accountable to what you want to be. I can say I made bad choices, but learn from the mistakes that I made. I tried never to repeat them. You cannot discipline kids like I was or my kids were. The laws have changed too. Yeah, and spanking and stuff.
They've done enough research on that, and
I'm not gonna spank my child ever. I'm not really judgmental on the people that do that to their kids. I kind of feel a little bit bad, but I really don't. I don't really give those parents a super hard time unless they're fucking straight up abusing their kids. If we're talking about a spank on the butt, that's your thing. That's your right to do that if you want, I guess. But it's not my thing. It's nothing I'm going to ever do. I can parent much more efficiently without that. And so that just speaks to the parenting. And again, we're going to go back to the parenting. If you have to resort to spanking, you have not got your message across to your child. And this is your only way to get your message across.
Yeah. Actually, when I took my psychology class, we did a lot of reading on the scientific research on spanking, and there's no scientific basis for it actually working at all.
Yeah.
And actually, all the scientific evidence shows that it does the opposite of what you want it to do.
Yeah, I can see that.
It really just teaches your kids to hide things that they've done wrong.
Yeah.
It teaches them to be violent.
Yeah.
Like, just statistically, it's just not beneficial at all.
And those are facts.
It's really, mostly all spanking is the parent not being able to control their emotions.
Exactly, that's what I was just saying.
They're upset with the child because the child isn't acting the way that they want, so they're taking out their aggression on the child.
Absolutely.
Thinking that it'll scare the kid into behaving, but it doesn't really have that effect.
To me, it's just frustration that the parent can't deal with. They don't know how to deal with it. And again, you should have there should be a requirement to go through a parenting class before you have a child. That's a bare minimum. I know we talked about, what'd you call it?
Eugenics.
We talk about eugenics, but let's just talk about more of a realistic solution that's not far-fetched, that actually will benefit everybody. If we could just require a parenting plan, like a fucking month-long parenting plan of some sort, or parenting class, excuse me, where they learn a bunch of stuff before they become a parent, we would probably be a much better society. Instead, everybody's able to have 5 kids without having any parenting knowledge whatsoever.
So my grandpa said, I disagree, and I'm just going to say this point blank because I don't care. You can disagree with science all you want, but that doesn't make it false. You can have your opinion.
And there's gonna be...
There's anecdotal thing.
There's gonna be some people who have gotten their ass kicked. You know, Dan Pena always talks about how his dad beat the shit out of him, and now he's a billionaire.
Yeah, but he's kind of a hard ass.
And he's a hard ass, yeah. So, and, you know, it can work sometimes, but he's talking about statistically on a mass statistic, you know.
So yeah, if we're looking at it scientifically, and you're allowed to have your own opinion, but that doesn't change the statistics.
Yeah.
So it's not gonna...
He does say that it says that in the good book. Is that the Bible?
I'm assuming he's talking about the Bible, and I don't care.
What does he say?
The Bible also says slavery and a bunch of like misogynistic shit, so I really don't care if it says spanking in the Bible at all.
Yeah, the Bible. The Bible is definitely... It got some, you know, I haven't read it in a long time, and I never read the whole thing through and through.
I'm not taking my moral choices from the Bible, that's for sure. There's a lot of fucked up shit that happens in the Bible.
Good point. And I'll actually talk about that. I had some interesting thing happen to me the other day. So Jim was saying it's his proven theory. So again, that's your personal experience with it. And I brought up Dan Pena. He's successful. There's other people that talk about they've been spanked. They're successful. There's some exceptions, but I agree with statistics too, and science and tests, and you know those are what show.
Also, not to talk shit, Grandpa, but scientifically it's much harder to take in new ideas the older you get. So you're hearing the scientific research that I'm talking about at age 60 something. It's gonna be a lot harder for you to be like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? Because you've grown up your whole life thinking that spanking is a good thing, so it's hard to unwind 60 years of what you think is with them, right?
It's really hard the older you get for people to take in, to be open-minded, really. I mean, that's why I had to fire a 50-year-old man from my job, because he couldn't open his mind and he couldn't take any direction very well. He was set in his ways. He knew how to do things X amount of times, whatever. The guy was a liability. I'm still dealing with repairs to this day because of him. So... It takes a lot to be open-minded, and I hope to God as I get older I stay open-minded. You know what I mean? I really want to just grow as an individual and just be open-minded. Jim, you cannot teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is what it is.
If the dog is
that's
not
also
ready
scientific.
To open their mind, yes, the dog is set in its ways.
That is also a scientific thing they've researched. It's scientifically a lot, like statistically it's a lot harder the older you get. So
yeah, but it can be done.
Yeah, just like the spanking thing, anecdotally it can work every once in a while. Every once in a while you'll find someone that can be open-minded until their old age, but
anything can be really done if you put your mind, if you're very aware of it and you put effort into it.
That's also true about anything with statistics, is there's going to be outliers to the majority, whatever you find, right?
Yeah.
People always say like, oh, well, we have a 70% chance of this. Like, well, there's still a 30% chance the other thing's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Or some other outcome's going to happen.
There's never 100% of anything. So you're right. There's pros and cons with everything. It's just how it goes. Which is why it's important to kind of base a lot of our theories and, you know, our influences off of statistics, you know, proven facts. It reminds me of this montage I've seen of Biden. Hilarious. That was a good laugh for me this morning. Just a montage of him rambling and being tired on there as he's speaking. One of the things he said was, it was hilarious, dude. He's like, we're going to ask the people focus on the truth and not the facts. And the dudes are just, oh my God, I lost my shit, dude. That was such a good fucking laugh for me this morning. I was like, oh my God.
Joe Biden said that?
Yeah. Oh. It was just doing drops, but I was like, listen to what he said. Like, we're going to focus on the truth, but not the facts.
Dude.
What does that fucking mean?
It doesn't mean anything. It's like I want to vote against Trump, but you can't because fucking Joe Biden is the other option.
Oh man!
For fuck's sake, man.
This is a great time to segue into the viral viewpoint. Actually,
I'm gonna do this for the first time since we started the podcast. So I'm gonna piss my pants if I don't take a piss.
All right, cool. So this is a great way to segue into this next topic. I'm going to wait till Danny gets back, but just to kind of tie this together and bring it all back to full circle. By the way, this is really good topics. I like how we went from talking about Juice WRLD's depressing song and talked about parenting, talked about spanking and mental health. Like, it's all relevant. And this is actually a lot of value. There's a lot of value in these conversations, in my opinion. So Jim, you were saying you try high voice or yelling, corner setting, taking things away. Me personally, taking things away would probably be more effective than any of those. Cause and I don't have any proof on any of this. That's my suspicion, and I just can't imagine me spanking my daughter. And I've had my moments where I've been pissed at her, and to be honest, it's very few. I'm very fortunate that my daughter, for the most part, is well behaved. And when I say the most part, I'm saying like 95%. She really is. And so I think a lot of that has to do with the influence that she has had up to this point. She's only 7, but she's had a lot of good influence. So I think it's really been beneficial for her. Jim was saying he'll vote for Joe Trump is a light thief and cheat. Oh, Joe Trump.
There's a period.
Oh, I will vote for Joe. Oh, Trump is a light thief and cheat. Okay. None of that worked on my Barrett boys.
Around viral viewpoint. Have you introduced it?
I have not. I was waiting for you.
Okay, cool.
So segueing, we started talking about Trump, and this is a good spot. So there's a girl I've been listening to. I've heard her before.
All right, one second.
Oh, okay.
You get into the huge thing. Let's just introduce the title.
All right.
Candace Owen and her view on politics, or something she said on politics.
She says a lot, but we're gonna focus on what she said about politics. Yeah.
All right. Then you can do your kind of summary thing.
Okay. So there's this girl named Candace Owens. I've seen her before. I've heard her talk before. But more recently, she's really been up in the politics quite a bit. She's got a lot of things that really just get my head spinning and get me looking at things differently. She's a huge Trump supporter. She's a black woman. She, right? That already threw you for a loop. And so she's got some really interesting things. We don't have enough time to go into. We're gonna have to break up. We'll be talking about her quite a bit because I enjoy her content, and she, like I said, she just has thought-provoking things that she talks about. She has interesting viewpoints, and that's why I thought it was really appropriate for the viral viewpoint. So let's talk about the politics that she was talking about. I'm gonna read a post that she made. And we'll just kind of talk about what you think about it and what you guys think about this as well. So this was actually just today. She posted this today. She says, Black Lives Matter is an organization of white men using the faces of dead black people to raise millions of dollars toward electing white Democrats into positions of power. It is the most flagrantly racist organization in America. So,
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, well, it gets me thinking, no matter what I agree with it or not.
Right. Just because, well,
it's not far-fetched, so.
It kind of is. I don't really think.
How to elaborate on that?
It's not just white men that are going around saying Black Lives Matter. There's tons of black people that are going around saying Black Lives Matter, so that's just.
Yeah.
And just because.
Okay, it's not that part, let's break it down.
Oh, but also, just because white men are saying Black Lives Matter doesn't mean it's a white, agenda. It's, you can be compassionate for your fellow human being without it being all about
color
white people, yeah.
Yeah. But that makes sense. That's
they're,
a good point.
they're joining and be like, hey, we also agree that Black Lives Matter. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're doing that for our own political agenda. I mean, I'm not saying that isn't the case for some of them, but I don't think that's the overarching thing that's going on with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, it's probably not an overarching thing. When I hear that, and again, I don't get into politics, so it's like the COVID-19 thing to me. I'm not solidified in Democratic messages or Republican messages.
Yeah, me either. I fucking hate that.
So when I hear stuff like that, it's like another thought for me. It's not like I don't hear it and automatically disregard it because I haven't made a decision on either side. To me, it's not far-fetched. To me, it's just, if that was true, it's just another basic form of controlling the masses, which is an age-old tactic. It really is. And so to me, that screams that it's not far-fetched, that it very well could be a possibility. I don't think that's true immediately. I don't think it's not true immediately. But I think it's something that definitely is profound.
I don't think it's true immediately, but I won't say 100% that it's not true. Yeah. Because I don't fucking know that, but...
You can't disregard that completely. The fact that she says, she quotes, they're using the faces of dead black people to raise millions of dollars towards electing the white Democrats into positions of power. The fact that
Who are they electing? You talking about like Joe Biden or what?
Yeah.
I don't even know if Joe Biden's gonna get elected. That's the thing though, right?
No, but that's his angle.
Is that one of his angles? Is that his angle right now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you haven't heard... dude, okay. On the montage, he told this one black guy, he's like, if you have trouble figuring out who you're gonna vote for, then you ain't black. Like, he says dumb shit like that, and it's like...
I think this is, I just think it's an anti-Joe Biden thing at this point, because...
It could be.
Because I think what's more likely is the Black Lives thing matter is happening. He's trying to get into office, so he's just bandwagoning.
Help his...
Yeah, he's just like, dude, Black Lives do matter. He's one of the cases where he doesn't give a fuck, but he's just gonna say it anyways.
That's true. Or maybe she argues that. That's what she's saying, actually. He doesn't give a fuck about black people.
Yeah,
he's using you.
But she's kind of saying the whole Black Lives Matter is just an agenda for... And I don't think that. I think that he's just using it as his agenda.
She's also saying that, yeah.
But I think the whole movement isn't just his, just an agenda for white politicians. I think
that could
it's more likely that he's just an opportunist. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He's just taking the opportunity to...
That I have made a decision on, just for the little bit that I've... So when we're talking about any politics and me making a decision, that is definitely true. Joe Biden is just a puppet, dude. He sees opportunity, and he doesn't care about the black people. He doesn't care about any of that shit, in my opinion.
Or if he does, he probably doesn't care as much as he's making us. Right? He might just be like,
there's an agenda.
That sucks, but
there's an agenda, And so what's ironic?
Wait, hold on. Mark said, actually, he did say that if you don't vote for him, you aren't black. To black people? Isn't that fucking ridiculous?
He says some dumb shit.
That's the stupidest thing. I forgot he said that.
That is not true, Ben. Wait. Trumpeter gets the theories to promote that agenda.
Trumpeters, he's like calling people that support Trump. Get into theories to promote that agenda. I think it's just trying to be like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter is just kind of blah, 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 so you should vote for Trump, right?
Yeah.
I think that's...
And so it sounds like, Jim, you have made your decision. But I would even ask you the same thing. It's not 100% not possible, right? And if you would say that, I would say you're naive to that. It's not. It's also a controlling the masses tactics if it is true. I'm not saying I believe in that. I'm just quoting the lady, and I'm saying it's profound and it's thought-provoking. And coming from someone who hasn't made a decision, it's easy for me to do that. But I'm not going to sit here and say that that's a lie and that the Black Lives Movement is completely not a white thing. It could be.
I think what I really think it is I think the Black Lives Matter movement is a genuine movement, but I think the media has a huge role in putting the spotlight on that to get everyone in arms back and forth.
They've used it as an agenda.
They do it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So the media. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Black Lives Matter isn't really created, right, for a political purpose, right?
Yeah.
But politicians are using it for their political agendas, if that makes sense.
Say that again?
So the movement is caused by the citizens who are upset, right?
Right.
Then the politicians are using that as leverage for their political agendas. But it's not like the politicians created Black Lives Matter. I mean, well, here's the thing. It can kind of be, it's kind of like in this weird gray area, right? Because the media is purposefully highlighting all these stories to get people riled up about it, right?
Yeah.
But people should be riled up about it anyways because it is happening. So it also just shows how fucked up the media is, right? Because the media and other times won't really showcase those things and people won't really know about them.
Yeah. And what's ironic is, so Jim was saying Trump is a racist. Well, when we had this conversation when Will was on the set, and I asked him this question, do you think Trump's a racist? And, you know, I said, do you think Trump's a closet racist? He said, absolutely. And then you said, he's not even a closet racist. He's a racist.
I forgot it.
And so you guys both think he's a racist. I also think he could be a closet racist. But then you got women like Candace Owens, who's actually very intelligent. And when you actually... You should definitely listen to her. That way, next time I bring the next topic up, you have more of an opinion on her. Mm-hmm. Very well spoken. She actually knows a lot of what she's talking about. So I wouldn't disregard her just like that. She's sitting here saying Trump's not a racist, and she points out a lot of facts, which I didn't have time.
I'm not disregarding her as a person. I'm just saying I don't agree with that post in particular.
Yeah, and you don't have to agree with it. I don't think it's far-fetched.
But I don't
agree with it either. But I don't rule it out.
I am trying to dissect it and try to think of it from multiple angles, though, just for critical thinking purposes. You know,
because there's always room for different views. Yeah, there really is.
I'm at least entertaining the other view. You know, just so I can like try to think from someone else's shoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what better person to get that viewpoint? A black woman. If it was a white man, it wouldn't bring much value to it.
Nobody cares.
The fact that this is a black woman that is very intelligent in politics, does her research, points out facts, is saying stuff like this, it personally gets me thinking about things. It's like, wow. I mean, she is very adamant that Trump is not a racist because of all these things that he has done.
It's pretty easy to see that Trump is a racist, though. He literally, all the shit he said about Mexicans, then he deported Mexicans, he still tried to build the wall.
Yeah.
Like, that's just point blank racist. Maybe he's not racist towards black people, but he is racist.
He could, you know, like, I mean, he could, absolutely.
Well, just think about that. Why would he say we need to deport Mexicans because they're going to rape people? Then actually deport people.
I didn't hear him say that. I would be interested to hear that because that is racist.
That was a huge thing he was saying before he got elected. And people were like, what the fuck?
I didn't hear him saying they're going to rape people. I heard him, it was the whole MS whatever 13 gang type thing and just being illegal immigrants. I never heard that part.
Yeah, he did. He did. I don't know. We could probably find it.
I'd have to hear it from his mouth.
I'm saying you don't have to hear me
just say like the hydrochloroquine.
Yeah.
When I heard him say that, and he didn't tell people to do that. He was suggesting, which he's an idiot for that, but the media did blow that out of proportion a little bit. Me and you both watched that. He did say, you know, could there be some, you know, maybe people could ingest this, or I can't remember what he said. What he said was idiotic, but he did not say what the media was saying, right. Which is he was telling people to do this. You see how things can easily get just fucking, even for someone as bad as Trump, he's getting it worse with the media. You know what I mean? It's easy for the media to spin shit that a guy like Trump says because he's already said dumb shit, which I don't deny. I've heard him say it.
Yeah, I guess we can fact check that. How about injecting bleach? You know,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that is literally what you're talking about. So fucking
idiotic. I'll admit that's idiotic. But the media says that he informed everybody to do that, and he actually did not. I did fact check that. He did not say that. And so, to his defense, you know, he's also being attacked, you know, even as idiotic as he is.
Didn't he didn't say, hey, Americans, you should inject bleach. Wasn't he asking the doctor, like, hey, couldn't you inject this?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he was doing. He was asking the fucking doctor like a moron.
Yeah, you have to rehear it, Jim. He didn't say,
hey guys, you should inject bleach.
Well, what did you hear him say? And then we can actually elaborate here on...
Because all he did was, remember, we were like, all he did was ask the doctor because Trump's a fucking... I will say this. Trump is a fucking moron. Because who the fuck would ask a doctor, hey, should we inject bleach? What a fucking stupid question.
Jim was saying he used to not rent to blacks back in the 70s. Now, when I hear something like that, I can't just take that and run with it.
Also,
I need to hear that from this man's mouth.
Also, here's the thing. Even if that's true, people can change.
Good
Since
point.
the 70s, that was 50 fucking years ago. You know what I mean?
Good point.
He could have came around since then and been like, you know what? Actually, I don't have a problem with black people. That was being stupid. So
absolutely. And to your point, remember I was talking about that one guy. I forgot his name. That jazz musician who infiltrated the KKK and got the leader of the KKK to quit and start changing his thoughts on it. Now that's a great example, and that doesn't negate all the bad he did, but you know, people can change, and so that's positivity. Actually, even if there's a ton of bad that's been done, that's at least good. Obviously, if someone's murdered people and and they change, then they still got to pay for the crimes, and then they still got to answer for the poor decisions they made. But it is important if people have actually turned a leaf or not. And that does matter. Kind of like, when I was in anger management class and I talked about that guy that talked about punching his pregnant wife in the stomach. Like, that man has changed, and so I do respect that part of that. What are you fact checking here? Please stand by.
Yeah. What did he say? He said, what did he say? Okay, there's like two different things he said.
That's almost verbatim, actually.
Well, this is a quote. This is an actual quote.
Yeah, that's verbatim.
And is there a way, he said, so this is like a question.
Yep.
Is there a way we can do something like that by injecting inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets inside the lungs and does a tremendous drop in the lungs, so it'd be interesting to check that. So you're going to have to use medical doctors but it sounds interesting to me.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, he never did say that he recommends people do that. It's exactly what he said. That was verbatim. I remember it vividly.
I remember because we were talking about it, and then we went and watched the video, and we're like, he didn't even fucking.
He's idiotic for thinking of that being a solution.
He was speculating it on television
out loud,
and people are stupid, so they listen to him.
Yes.
So yes. I don't really, but he didn't explicitly tell people to inject bleach. He speculated on whether we should, but he even in his own fucking quote, he said, so you're going to have to use medical doctors.
Yes, yeah.
Himself. So if anyone went at home and injected bleach after that, he didn't even fucking tell them to.
That's because
he's like, maybe that'll work.
They're very more idiotic than him. No, he said it on. No, he said it on stage. People took him literally.
Well, here's the thing: people taking him literally
is not his fault.
Yeah, that's. But
it goes back to the influence.
Yeah, I guess that
is there a level of responsibility, accountability?
I think this one,
but that's a fine line. He did not say.
It falls on the media.
Yes.
The media portrayed him as saying that, and so people are running with that and saying, "Hey, Trump told people to inject bleach." When you just go and watch it, read the quote. I mean, we've read the quote and we've watched that video now, and he just speculates it, and then the media spun it that he told everyone to do that, which that's actually on the media. So we should be mad at the media for telling people to inject bleach because they made it sound like the president told them to. That's what he never did.
That's what Philip was saying. Isn't that the way every election is? Yeah, that's true. And Jim, I'm not sure where you're still. Let's see. I still don't know exactly what you're saying that he said. You asked us to Google it, but we don't know what to Google. What did he say that you think he said? So we can fact check this.
Well, that's why I Googled it, is because he said that, and I went and Googled it.
But I don't know what he's at. I don't know what he thinks he said.
Yeah, you listen to it live, but people have bad memories. That's why I went and just fact-checked it, because I remembered him asking, and then I went and fact-checked it now by looking up his actual quotes, which we just read out loud.
I listened to it live also, and then I didn't listen to it live. I listened to a live recording.
So that was months ago, and now we just read it again.
But us reading it right now, that was verbatim. I know because I remember exactly what he was saying, and that's exactly what he did say.
I wouldn't trust your memory, because that's also scientifically proven to be able to change over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can change your own memories on accident. Remember things incorrectly. So.
Yeah. And again, we'll touch back in, because like I said, she's got a lot of she is in politics, and she says things like that really just gets me thinking.
That's why I was saying we should actually fact check the thing that Trump said about Mexicans being rapists, because maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly and he didn't. So let's do that.
We should, because, you know, although Trump has his faults, but if he is going to be our president, I would like to look more into the goodness of what he can do for our country.
Well, here's the thing, Grandpa's saying the implication to put poison into a person's body. And I think what the problem is here is I don't think Trump was thinking of it as a poison. I think he was just being a moron and being like, oh, we've seen that bleach will kill it in the petri dish. Why can't we just put that? He wasn't even thinking like, oh, bleach is going to kill you. He's just being a fucking idiot.
He was just being an idiot, and he didn't think about... It seems like...
He just like verbal diarrhea and didn't think about what he was saying.
And we know this about Trump. I mean, he tweets all the time.
He says he accidentally... And I agree with you. He's not president...
he's not good leader material. I agree with that too.
Presidential material. There it is. Yeah.
But I will fact check on some of the things he has done, because there's people that we have glorified that have done bad things. For instance, Obama. I think Biden was vice president under Obama.
Yeah, he was. They
both voted against same-sex marriage. Mm-hmm. Does anybody remember that?
Obama and
both of them.
Yeah.
They changed their tune now, right? So people can change. But at that time, they both did not vote for same-sex marriage.
You know, and Obama did do good things, but people like... the funny thing is, though, Obama did a lot of fucked up things, too.
Absolutely.
People like to, just throw that under the carpet. And then with Trump, it's like... I'm pretty sure Trump has done some alright things.
I think he has, too, and I need to look more into it, especially after she's dropping all these facts.
But the media...
Wow, I didn't know that.
But the media only focuses on the negative, where it's like the opposite of Obama, where they're only focusing on the positive.
Yes.
So we don't have, like... true coverage of what a president's doing.
I know, unless you go to unless you're at every freaking campaign rally yourself.
And it's just politics in the media, man. It's just really stupid. It's like the president really is just a puppet that the media uses to kind of gain leverage on the people.
Absolutely,
so we're fighting against each other all the fucking time. It's stupid.
Absolutely. This is exactly what I definitely don't fight over left or right. Like, I would just encourage people to have an open mind as far as and then fact check the things that we can fact check, and that's things that are said from their mouth as they're at a campaign rally. You can't deny that. And then bear in mind that people make mistakes and can change too.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That was the reason that I was thinking about voting for Biden. I'm not going to vote for either of them, but I was like, if I was going to vote, is the fact that he point blank admitted to hiding the fact that he knew that the virus was...
Biden?
No.
Oh, Trump. Yeah.
He knew that the virus was bad and then told everyone that it was not a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's just like negligence, you know what I mean? That's just so bad that...
That's not good for leaders. That's not...
Because if he had played it to the tune that was actually accurate, if he believes that it's bad, right? And he knows that it's bad, but he said the opposite. He should have told everyone it was bad so that everyone fucking listened.
Yeah.
Because obviously they listen to him when he fucking speculates about bleach and fucking other shit and do it. So
it makes us lose trust in our president. And for someone who's in the highest position in our country, you need that trust.
Yeah. Grandpa, actually, we don't need to fact check that he had the virus, because we just talked about that like on the last podcast or the one before that, right?
Yeah, we already know he
we know that. And I'm upset about that. I mean...
Honestly, I haven't even fact checked that, but
here's the thing with the president election right now is like Trump says some of the most moronic things in the world, and then you have Biden who says some of the most moronic things in the world, and you just gotta go, who fucking cares?
I mean, let's just look at what good and what bad has been done. You know, let's just focus on that, because if Trump has done more good than he's done bad, I'm okay with that.
Mark's so funny. I'm just gonna vote for Pedro. That's an old reference now, actually.
I don't remember that reference.
That's Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, nice.
Pedro is his little Mexican friend. They had those shirts that said vote for Pedro.
That's right.
That's an old reference, man.
Yeah, I was first time I watched that, I fucking fried balls.
Did you think it was hilarious?
Hard. No, I had a bad trip. That was the first time I've ever had a bad trip.
Napoleon Dynamite. You had a bad trip. That's so weird.
Literally watching it, and things started moving. I passed out. Next thing you know, I was laying in bed for 12 hours thinking I was going to be retarded the rest of my life.
That was the Napoleon Dynamite?
That's the Napoleon Dynamite.
Well, That just shows you how bad that movie is. That movie was bad. So.
I talked about this bad trip on one of the episodes when we were talking about hallucinogens.
That movie was bad. But anyway, we should probably get to the next segment because we only have like 7 fucking minutes. So.
Okay, so if anybody wants to look into Candace Owens in the meantime, and she talks about a lot of different things regarding politics, give her a shot because we're going to bring her up a few more times about different topics as well. So give it a shot. That way you can kind of get a better understanding of where she's coming from mentally.
Yeah, and we'll probably come back to some of these topics because we were kind of like, we're cutting them off because we're running out of time for segments. But
there's a lot of value in these things. Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of value.
And then one of those boring with stimulus checks almost. I mean, still have value in that too, but
not as much as the other ones.
So my rant is... so it's about cops. What do you call it?
Inconvenient cops.
Inconvenient cops. What a perfect title for this. This is one last thing Jim said. Biden might not be a perfect one, but I cannot vote for a liar, racist, and a thief. He just wants the stock market to achieve. Yeah, I wouldn't vote for Biden. If I was going to vote, it's not going to be him.
I can't vote for either. That's why I'm not voting.
I'm not voting, period.
If there was a worthwhile
candidate, if I was forced to vote, I'd probably vote for Trump, but then I would really be forced to also fact check a little bit more.
Yeah, if we're getting forced to vote, I'm gonna have to check all everything that Trump has passed, see compare the ratio of good to bad. Do the same thing for Biden under Obama and all the shit that they've said, and just
I wouldn't even have to do the Biden is just that dude is off. Yeah. Even if the accusations were not true, he's not mentally capable of being a president. I've seen this in just a montage I've seen this morning. That dude is burnt out mentally with life.
Anyway, let's get to the rant though.
Let's wrap that up and move on to this next topic. Inconvenient cops. This comes in many forms, but this is something I've always bitched about. And I seen it today again. A cop had pulled somebody over. We're talking on I-5, this is an 8-lane freeway we're talking about here. There's a car that was pulled towards the median. This is not a median that you think of. It's only separated by those little concrete separators, so it's real tight, right? Mm-hmm. So he pulled over to the left side, stopped. So the cop there has pulled this guy over. He's doing a freaking whatever test, a DUI test on him, right? And so you're blocking that left lane. It's bottlenecking a little bit and it's causing some... Okay. Here's a question. First of all, why are people stopping on the road? And why don't cops direct people off the road? This should be a law. You should get off the fucking freeway completely and do your shit on the side of the road without impeding. It's a distraction for lights. It's a distraction because it's an obstruction. It's just ineffective and inefficient in general. And it does not make any sense to me why nobody's thought about some more efficient law to be passed to where a cop must get off the freeway with whoever he pulls over to get out of the fucking way without bottlenecking traffic.
Well, if the dude's drunk, for instance... You might not want to do that, but I think
most cases
it should be a ticket for the driver.
You don't know they're drunk. You can't tell someone's drunk.
Yeah, but I'm saying, let's say he's following some dude, and dude's fucking swerving, then pulls over to the left side of the road. The cop's probably not going to be like, "Hey, can you pull over to the other side of the road?" He's probably just going to be like, "Just fucking stay there."
Well, in
that instance,
here's a good example. The cops have intercoms on their car, and they always get on it when they want to tell you something like, don't do that, get over to this, get over to that. That's a great tool to use for exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to get out. Yeah. Say, please get off the road completely. Pull to the right. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. What say you? Is that I mean...
I agree, but I'm saying if the person is drunk, not listening, pulls over the left side of the road, there's nothing the cop can really do about it.
If he's established that he's drunk and he's already off the road, then yes,
or at least,
of course you don't want him.
Maybe he's not drunk, but he's at least being a dangerous driver by swerving and stuff. You might not want him to start driving again and try to get over to the other side of the road. You might just be like, let's just keep him there. Because he's probably less dangerous.
If that's just where he stopped, yeah. That makes sense.
But in most cases, you know what I mean? Yeah. Isn't it allowed to pull over to off the fucking road?
I thought so. It should be. I don't think so because the cop didn't. He continued to give him a DUI tester, and it's not just a DUI. I've seen people do this many a times. just pull over to the left side, or even on the right side, not off completely out of the road. Just my point is, get off the fucking road where the main traffic is going.
I'll disagree with the inconvenient thing because I think it's more than inconvenient. It's definitely dangerous to have something stop.
That too.
Stop
and
in the middle of
blinking
the
lights. It's a distraction.
Yeah,
completely.
it's very dangerous. It's more than inconvenient. It's definitely
Why is
dangerous.
this not thought about by laws? And this should be thought about by politicians. I don't understand that. What do you say? Other cars are supposed to pull over when lights are active.
Yeah, but not when a car is pulled over. Like, the cop will pull over and have their lights on the entire time they're pulling someone over. It's not like everyone's just going to pull over and wait for this person to get a ticket until the cop turns its lights off. You know what I mean? They're going to drive past the cop with his lights on if he's pulled over to the side of the road.
Yeah. It's fucking frustrating every time I see it. And I don't know if it's just I-5 State Patrol or what, but it happens all the time. Here's a quick funny story though. Maybe this is why they don't do it. One time I was being pulled over. I was in the far left lane in I-5 bumper to bumper traffic. I get over one lane and the cops, he's right behind me. He lit me up, right? So he's pulling me over. I get over one lane. Because I thought this was the law. I thought, like, I'm certainly not going to stop in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the left side. So I get over one lane. That's my intention, is to get off the road completely. I get over one lane. He still didn't get over. And when I say get over, like, I'm fighting to squeeze in there. People are barely letting me in. That's how much it was, bumper to bumper. Get in the second lane. He's still in the far left lane trying to fight to get over. No one seems to... I don't know if they're not letting him or they just can't because it's just that tight. I get over again. He still doesn't... I think he made it over one lane. Long story short, I got completely off. He did not make the exit. And he fucking pulled... It's one of those exits that goes uphill. And so when you're at the top there, you can on-ramp again and you can see the descent, getting back on. And I'm sitting up there at the stop sign and I seen him pull over, wait for me to get back on with his lights on. And I made an impulse move. I just turned left. I was like, yeah, no, I'm good.
Did you get a ticket in the mail or something?
I thought I would. Never heard anything about it. That shit was hilarious.
That's
to me,
so
dude.
funny. You're lucky you didn't have your fucking plate judged. Or maybe it was just like, all right, you got me.
I know that pissed him off probably, dude. That shit was hilarious, man. But that's a great example.
Well, I got in big trouble for that because you're like basically.
I didn't know I was being pulled over, and that's why I got off the road. I didn't know.
I guess there's no way to prove that he was pulling you specifically over, right?
Exactly. I'd be like, he wasn't behind me because he couldn't get behind me.
That is hilarious. Like fucking A, man.
I'll never forget that though, because he was just waiting, and in the stoplight. I mean, I had it was like a fucking Western stare down, dude. We were just like, woo, woo, woo. I was like, yeah, I'm good. And I just took the back way through Yelm.
That's so fucking funny.
Oh my god, that was hilarious. I'll never forget that though, man. But yeah, what should be done is what I did, and I understand that it could be complicated in those rare cases like that, but hopefully nobody does what I did and they'll just get back on the floor.
Okay. Mark was saying, so to reiterate what Mark was saying, when he was saying cars are supposed to pull over, my grandpa was kind of clarifying. He's saying you're supposed to pull away from the lane that the car is in.
Oh, okay. Which is what I'm saying. Get
so,
off the road.
So if there's like 3 lanes that are on the very edge of the road, then you're supposed to pull over like one lane. So there's like one empty lane, I guess. I guess that makes sense.
So you're still going to be blocking a lane?
I guess so, but I guess that's for the safety of, because the cop has to get out and walk around. I know they changed the thing now. The cops usually get out on the passenger side now.
So there's another reason why you should just get off the road completely. You don't have to worry about it at all.
No, I'm talking about if they're in the shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So don't drive in the right lane in case the cop, gets out of the car on the driver's side and then you fucking hit the cop while you're driving down that lane.
What I'm saying is that can all be avoided if you get off the road. You don't have to worry about that at all.
Yeah, it just depends on where you're at. It depends on the traffic, like you're saying.
I'm saying you won't have to worry about hitting a cop car on the freeway if you're off the freeway. It's another thing.
You mean like get off and exit?
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's not always possible.
No, but 90% of the time it is.
Yeah.
There's an exception like we talked about, but for the majority of the pullovers, you can get off. It's not everybody's fucked up, hammered, drunk to where they can't get off the road.
True.
It just makes sense. It just makes sense for the distraction and the lights, for the inefficiency of bottlenecking traffic, and for the safety of the cops.
Yeah. I know sometimes
many reasons.
Some people are smart about that. You know, you'll see some people, they'll pull off to an exit. They won't go all the way up to exit, but they'll be on the exit, kind of on the side.
I had a cop fucking get on his intercom because he was telling me to pull over. As I was getting off the road. He's like, pull over! Like, thinking I was not hearing him or something. Like, dude, I'm getting off the fucking road, out of the way of people. I'm not gonna stop right where I'm at. Like, I've been through this before. Like, I'm doing what makes sense. But then it goes to his ego and he's power tripping. He's like,
get what I said right now.
They'll use it for dumb reasons like that when he doesn't realize. I'm like, all those 3 reasons. I'm like, yes, officer, I'm doing it for your safety.
I can understand him yelling like that if you're like speeding away.
Yeah.
But like you're like slowly
20 miles. Exactly. I was like, dude, you are really power tripping. So it's hilarious, man. But that's my rant. I think that should be a law. You should get off the road. I don't care what the cop says. He says, pull over, whatever, get off the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We can all agree on that, I think so.
All right, guys. Well, we have run out of time. And so just to wrap it up, I agree they should get off the road. Absolutely. But there's a law in the books to move a lane away from an emergency vehicle with its lights on. Not sure what that means.
I mean, that makes sense because...
Move a lane away from the emergency vehicle. Yeah, well, you can just get rid of that law and replace it for getting off the road.
Well,
I'm saying.
I mean, yeah. You're talking about just
then you don't have to worry about being in the way of the fucking emergency vehicle ever again.
Yeah, it could be any type of vehicle though. So like say it's the same thing as like if there's an ambulance there or a fire truck or whatever. Yeah. In those situations, you definitely can't move it somewhere else because it has to be there, right? But he's just saying any type of vehicle that has lights, you move one lane over or you give them room.
If you have no time, yes. I'm saying anytime you have the capability of getting completely off the road, do it. Right. And that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, you have the chance to do that. So,
yeah.
I think we can all get on board with that.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, no, I agree with that. We're all just nitpicking this fucking...
Yeah, it's not... I'm not saying anything far-fetched here, guys.
No, you're not. We're just like, what about this case? And what about this case?
Come on.
We're just being difficult. Well, all right.
That's good stuff,
It's been a fun podcast, so...
All right, well, let's run through these plugs real quick one more time. Yeah. We can wrap this up.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you're one of our subscribers, hit us up for the Discord.
Nice.
And send you a little link.
There it is, guys. There it was. And I agree. This was a good podcast. It was one of those ones where we're kind of burnt out and tired. But I guess thankfully I had some espresso and it kept me going. And we had some good stuff, some valuable conversation topics in this. I really appreciated it. So, and I appreciate your guys' feedback too. Even if we didn't agree on a lot of things, that's fantastic. Like I said, this would be boring as shit if we all agreed on everything.
That is very true. We need some discourse for you know.
Yeah, and being able to agree to disagree is more important to having disagreements where everybody's getting all emotionally incapable of handling disagreements. That's when it's stupid.
This podcast is actually making me better at it because I realized that in a couple of episodes I was getting a little too emotional. I'm like, all right, we need to step that back a little bit. Just let people disagree with
us. Yeah. You get invested in it so
I'm getting too invested. Now I'm just like, all right, well, whatever. I mean, you're entitled to your own fucking thoughts. So
that's it, man. That's it. I mean, just agreeing to disagree maturely is really empowering. It is. So, all right, guys, it's been good. I guess you guys will not see us until next Wednesday. So we apologize for that, but we got to attend some weddings. We'll do a review of our wedding when we get back and let you guys know how it was. And so I guess everybody have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next Wednesday. But until then, keep it viral.
Keep it contagious.
Later.